Hello, and welcome to Appleton Engaged. I'm your host, Timber Smith, Special Assistant to the Mayor for Community, Culture, and Belonging.
And I'm Sarah Schneider, Mobility Manager with Valley Transit, a department of the City of Appleton.
And Appleton Engaged is a podcast that explores the many people, organizations, and resources that make our community a great place to live, work, and play. So whether you're a longtime resident or just getting to know Appleton, join us as we learn more about our community together.
Timber, this is a story to be told today. And it is, in full disclosure, much to my surprise that I would be co-hosting today because less than 24 hours ago, that wasn't on my agenda. I have a very deep history with this organization. I've been following and supporting this organization since its inception. In full disclosure, I am a board member. And I also refer to and depend on this organization greatly in my role with Valley Transit.
Oh, well, you know what, Sarah? I don't know if I can hype it up any more than you just did, and that makes me super excited. And you know what? I'm a firm believer that sometimes the forces of the universe come into play, and you are meant to be here co-hosting today.
Honored to be here and excited for this guest.
Me too. So this week's guest is David Lally, Executive Director for Hope Clinic and Care. Hey, David, what's going on?
Not too much. It's nice to meet both of you, and I just want to thank you for this opportunity to come on and talk about the great work at Hope Clinic and Care Center.
Awesome. But before we get to that, can you please tell us a little something about yourself and your association with Appleton and the surrounding Fox Cities region?
Absolutely. So I was born here in Appleton, and when I was 2, we moved overseas. We actually lived 6 years over in Milan, Italy, and returned back to Appleton halfway through second grade, and then stayed here in school and graduated from Appleton West just a few years ago. I'm now married. I have 4 children, and we live north of Appleton. I've spent the last 15 years in various healthcare leadership roles, and now as of December of 2024, I have the privilege to serve as the executive director of the Hope Clinic, and I truly feel blessed to be able to serve in that capacity, and I'm really happy to be working back in my hometown here in Appleton. That means a lot to me.
Well, David, you know what? I'm going to say that out of all the guests that we've had on Appleton Engaged, I think you might be the longest range boomerang that we have had who have left and went to Italy and come back. I don't know if anybody's left further than that.
I don't recall any.
No, me neither. So, well, that is a pretty awesome thing, and we are glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Can you please tell us about your resource?
So yeah, Hope Clinic and Care Center really is a phenomenal ministry. Some of the just kind of logistics is that we're a 4-day-a-week primary care clinic. That's really the core of what we do. But we do so much more than that. We really try to approach healthcare as a holistic approach. We look at the whole person, and we try to provide all of the services, all of the care that a person might need. We were established in 2015, so this actually happens to be our 10-year anniversary, which is really pretty phenomenal because much like Sarah, I've been following the inception of Hope Clinic from when it started and to its growth and to where it's at today. And I don't know, Sarah, if you want to share a little bit about what you thought about the beginnings of Hope Clinic.
I have vivid memories of Senior Pastor Dennis Episcopal from Appleton Alliance Church announcing that he had, at that time, been serving as a board member for 11 Fox Cities. And the board had collectively been identifying some of the more urgent needs in the community. And at that time, it was determined that it was really essential that our community have a free health care clinic, that the need was so great. And that inspired Pastor Dennis to rally the congregation at Appleton Alliance to found Hope Clinic, and it started very humbly out of a couple of rooms that were no bigger than classrooms at the church. And so, David, to celebrate 10 years, Timber, I just picture, some sound behind the podcast little device to be like, confetti.
I'll work on that.
Because I can't believe 10 years already, and a real tribute to Pastor Episcopo and his vision. but really everybody who has stepped along the path to make it what it is today. And I'm excited for David to expand on that.
Yeah, it is a pretty exciting time to be furthering the mission of Hope Clinic. Like I mentioned, besides our primary care services, there's so much more that we do there. We do lab work for our patients. We do medication assistance, medications that they otherwise would not be able to afford that we can provide to them. And if we don't have it, we can direct them to the most affordable medication available to them as well. We're also very excited that we're able to provide counseling services, and that's also an opportunity for growth because, as many people know, mental health is a huge issue in this community and most communities. And then, really, our wraparound care services, so care management and care navigation, meeting the needs of the whole person and often the whole family, providing them with the resources, social service resources that they might need, is really an important part of what we do.
Okay, so I want to go a little bit more. I got two questions, so I'm going to throw them both out there while I remember them. And one is, I want to go a little bit more into those services. So what do people come normally to Hope Clinic to get help with? What are some of those services? You explained some of the things, but I'm thinking more medically. And then, what does Hope Clinic possibly able to provide is, I guess, another way to ask it. And then my second question is, how do you qualify to be served by Hope Clinic?
Yeah, those are both really good questions, and I'll actually start with your second question first. To qualify to be a patient at Hope Clinic, you have to meet the guidelines to be at or below 300% of the federal poverty level. And so then we're able to provide those services completely free of charge to the patients. We primarily serve the underinsured or the uninsured patients. And like I said, we're able to provide them with a wide array of services. Most often, patients come to us with primary care needs. They just need a health physical or just one or two ailments they're dealing with. What we find, though, is that there's usually other things that are going on, and that's where we can go a little bit deeper with them. And some of the unique things that we're really proud of at Hope Clinic is we have the ability to provide a longer visit with our patients. Generally, we have 60-minute primary care visits that we can provide to the patients, so they're really able to go into detail about what they're struggling with, whether it's physical or emotional or mental issues that they're dealing with. We're able to take the time with them. And like I mentioned, then the social and financial assistance that we can provide to them as well, which is really a big deal for that holistic approach to care.
And Hope Clinic doesn't do that alone. They do that in partnership, recognizing that primary care and investing in people and giving them the individualized attention to really understand the depth or breadth of their need or the entire family's needs. But then the relationships you have with other partners and other organizations in the community also really help Hope Clinic fulfill its mission.
Absolutely, yeah. And that is a really important point. The community partnerships that we have established over the years and continue to look for more are really important. So we mentioned primary care services. Often our patients will need a higher level of care. We have one partner here in the Valley, OSMS, that has been a strong supporter of us for years, and they provide radiology services free of charge to our patients, which is a huge deal and often very needed in those certain situations.
And I'm just nosy because I don't know everything about the day-to-day in Hope Clinic, but is there a waiting list? Because we hear about mental health services and we hear about counseling and we hear about the demand, and being a free clinic, I would assume there's just such a demand on you and your team.
There is, and currently we're open Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5. And like I mentioned, those 60-minute visits are important, so we try to create the capacity within the day to be able to spend the time with the patients. And yes, we do fill up often. I wouldn't say that we regularly have a waiting list, but we do try to provide care even in the moment, even if we have people that just show up. We will kind of check to see where our providers are at, and if possible, we will actually get them in and get them seen kind of on the spot. We're not an urgent care, but we can sometimes provide that care as needed.
Timber, that's where I'm guilty in my role at Valley Transit, in that I am that person who will encounter an individual who I believe can benefit from services at Hope Clinic. And selfishly, it is often to tell them Hope Clinic can help you with your bus fare.
Yeah, and that is really important too. Where we're located, thankfully, we're on the bus line, which was actually one of the reasons that we moved from the church back in 2018 to our current location on the backside of the Goodwill building, is so that a lot of our patients would be able to access us utilizing public transportation.
And I commend you daily for being on the bus route. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It does make accessibility greater for those in need.
Well, yes. And if the primary point is to serve those with the greatest need, that seems like a pretty important thing to think about.
Great partnership.
How big's your team? Because this sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And we have a phenomenal team. Currently, we probably have around 30 people that serve at Hope Clinic. 22 of them are actually on staff, and the rest are volunteers. And really, they're the ones that make the clinic run day in and day out. And they impress me every day with the level of care and quality of the care that they provide to our patients.
And I don't, I hate asking these kinds of questions. No, I do. I love asking these types of questions. Do you have an idea of like how many people you typically serve, or the last time you might have taken a survey of how many people you've served in whatever amount of time?
Yeah, we generally use the number that we serve approximately 25 patients on average each and every day that we're open. So, and that stayed pretty steady. We saw a little bit of an uptick in that at the beginning of the year, but that's kind of leveled out. But we're usually right around 25 a day.
And that small but mighty team also has acquired some great accolades. Hope Clinic is recognized for some great awards.
Yeah, absolutely. We are actually a Gold Seal accredited clinic, which is an accreditation both through the Wisconsin Association of Free and Charitable Clinics as well as the National Association of Free and Charitable Clinics. And really, that is a quality metric. It's very intense, and I have to give a quick shout out to our previous executive director who put in a ton of time and effort to achieve that Gold Seal accreditation. But really, it's a nice assurance to our patients that we are meeting and exceeding all of the quality metrics that are out there for a free and charitable clinic.
And you don't need a reference to utilize Hope Clinic, correct?
Correct. Yep. You can make an appointment yourself. Like I said, there is once in a while walk-in appointments available, but we do get referrals from other organizations, other social services organizations, and other healthcare organizations in the Valley.
What is a misunderstanding or a myth people may have about Hope Clinic?
I would say that because we are a free and charitable clinic, they might assume that they're not going to get the same level of care that they might get if they go to another clinic. But just in the 6 months that I've been there and from what I've known about Hope Clinic, that's just absolutely not true. The level of care, the dedication, and really the heart behind all of the people that serve at Hope Clinic really is it's just amazing to witness each and every day.
David, that is an excellent segue to sharing a narrative to help listeners better understand the importance of Hope Clinic and all that you do. And I know I robbed you of your founder story, so maybe you can take a different different track with how you would describe the work at Hope Clinic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best way to describe what we do at Hope Clinic is through the eyes of the patient. And we collect patient stories every chance we get. We had one, in fact, just yesterday, I was talking to a patient. She was willing to come in and actually be interviewed on video to talk about her experience at Hope Clinic. And she just talked about how it basically transformed her life. She felt that every time she came there, she was genuinely cared for, and again, holistically, not just the physical needs that she had, but all of the needs and all of the stuff that she was going through, and she felt listened to. The medical support that she received, she shared that she lost over 70 pounds. She was just thrilled about it, giving me high fives. And now she's thriving, both physically, emotionally, and like I said, she was then more than excited to come into the clinic and go on video to tell her story, which is, like I said, there's no better testimony to the work that we're doing at Hope Clinic than to hear it directly from a patient.
I would agree I wholeheartedly agree with that. Nothing like a good testimonial.
Yep, absolutely.
Are there any upcoming initiatives, events, or engagement opportunities?
There are a lot. As I mentioned earlier, this is the 10-year anniversary of Hope Clinic. So we were founded in 2015. And as part of that 10-year celebration, we're doing a number of things to mark that. We have annual events that we do every year. There's a Hope Renewed Cookout and Open House that happens in late spring, early summer, which is just an opportunity to invite our friends, our patients, our neighbors to come and enjoy some good food and some good camaraderie. We have an annual golf outing that happens in the middle of the summer. All are welcome to join us for that. And then in the fall, we started a comedy event last year, and we're going to continue with that. And this year it'll have a 10-year anniversary celebratory type theme as we kind of wrap up that 10-year celebration.
You got me with food and comedy. I can't think of a better combination.
Every time, Timber.
I can't help it.
It's all right. Good food everywhere. Thanks, David. And I am also curious if there's anything the community could do specifically to be helpful.
Absolutely. What I realize is that in some ways, and it's interesting because physically we're located on the back side of the Goodwill building, so cleverly hidden back there. And I think in some ways, even though we've been in existence for 10 years, not as many people are aware of Hope Clinic as I maybe thought they were. So helping us to share the story of what's going on at Hope Clinic and the types of services that we're providing and the lives that we're impacting. So people that could share that story would be, fantastic. And as I mentioned, as we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary, we have launched a capital campaign. We want to be able to renovate the clinic interior, upgrade our technology to really better serve our patients. One example of that is we're looking for funding to bring in new lab equipment that could give lab results quicker to our patients and also would save us money because otherwise we have to send those labs out. And really, overall, we just want to refresh the clinic because we want our patients to feel like they walked into a high-quality, modern, clean, sanitary environment while they're receiving care. We also have some, really more long-term or visionary goals to expand our services and add staff to meet the growing needs of our patients and the community that we serve. A major focus, as I mentioned earlier, is expanding our mental health services, and that's going to take more people, more staff, and likely even additional space. So we really like our location, as mentioned on the bus line, but we are definitely open to additional locations. So if anyone out there has a building or a space that they would like to gift to us, that would be fantastic. Because also, as we mentioned, as transportation being a barrier to receiving healthcare services, we know it's important to go to the patient, to where they're located, to serve them in their community, in their neighborhood. So we do have aspirations to expand the clinic beyond the walls of the current space right now.
So I want to expand for clarification. I know that our founding story did start at Appleton Alliance Church. I think there's a perception in the community that it's Appleton Alliance Church's clinic. Mm-hmm. So when you mention donors, funders, additional financial support, Hope Clinic isn't just funded by Appleton Alliance.
That is 100% correct. We were founded at Appleton Alliance, and we are still connected to them, but we are, and it is very important, we are a standalone 501c3 not-for-profit healthcare free and charitable clinic, and we are really open to anyone and everyone. And I think there is a lot of opportunity to get connected into more organizations, other nonprofits that serve some of our same patient populations, to get connected to other corporations that would like to come alongside us and support us. We've had some great corporate sponsors in the past, such as Security Lubke Roofing, been a phenomenal corporate sponsor. We'd like 10 more just like them to come alongside of us, because as those needs grow, the services that we can provide, the need for funding to support those will grow right alongside of it. So we are still connected to Alliance Church, but we are definitely a standalone free and charitable clinic.
That's important, I think, because that's what I hear often is that assumption that Hope Clinic doesn't need any money. You've got Appleton Alliance Church. Also, though, you shared a story. Patient testimonials are so critical. But I also think a tour of the clinic is also incredibly eye-opening to people who to your point, don't even know it exists.
I completely agree. And that's probably the thing I say the most when I'm meeting new people, and this role still being relatively new for me, is that, come on over, grab a cup of coffee. I'd love to give you a tour of the clinic. I'd love for you to meet some of the other staff that are serving here at Hope Clinic. Because again, just like with the patient story, the staff and the experience that they have there serving really is a testimony in and of itself.
I'm going to take that as a personal invitation, David. And
It
now I would like a tour. No,
You got it.
I will be coming and taking you up on that. You mentioned about mental health. Are there other things that are trending right now in our community that are needs that you may be thinking about in the future, or that we as the Appleton Engaged listener may not be aware of that our community really may need?
Yeah, I think if we're talking about a holistic approach to care, we really need to start looking at patient education. Any opportunity that we can have with patients to educate them about their physical, emotional, mental health, if we can reduce the stigma of mental health services, we all need somebody to talk to at some point in our journey. And if we can help people along that journey and we can educate them, whether it's a physical need or an emotional need, then they're going to come back to us in better shape, or they're going to go back into their community in better health and able to help other people. So I think patient education is huge. And when it comes to mental health, I think we, again, have to look at all of the needs, all of the struggles that somebody might be dealing with, which is, again, why our wraparound services, care navigation, care access, counseling, why that's so important, because rarely does somebody enter our primary care clinic with just a physical need. There's almost always something else going on that they need some help with, and that's what we're there for.
I particularly appreciate you explaining the educational component, because we get our information from so many different places, whether that's podcasts, news, social media. How do you navigate that? And so, to Hope Clinic's credit, taking that individualized time to really understand what the person's needs are, what the underlying causes are, and then how to inform them on how to make their best life is so cool. It is really touching.
Yeah. It's all about the relationships. And when our patients are able to establish a relationship with their provider, with their nurse, with their counselor, that's where we really start seeing the positive impact on their lives.
David, who can people contact, or how can people contact you if they'd like to learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're located at 1814 Appleton Road, just into Menasha on the backside of the Goodwill building. And anyone is welcome to reach out to me. My email address is dlally, D-L-A-L-L-Y, at hopeclinic.care. Our website is hopeclinic.care. And on that website also, we put all of the events that I mentioned earlier are out there, so people can go out there and see what's going on. And also, if they would sign up for our newsletter, then on a monthly basis, they would, in their inbox, get all of the information that's happening at the Hope Clinic, including patient stories and other opportunities, maybe for volunteering, that are available at the Hope Clinic. So there's multiple ways to get a hold of us. We also have Facebook and LinkedIn accounts, and possibly even other social media channels in the future.
And here is David representing Hope Clinic, but it isn't just you doing all of this work. So this is the time to give a shout out.
Yeah, I have a lot of shout outs that I could go through, but I really need to start with the incredible staff at Hope Clinic. They're really the day-to-day heroes of the mission and what we do there. And of course, our board of directors for their leadership and their vision and their support. Each and every one of them are fantastic. Our community partners, I mentioned a couple earlier, and the other healthcare systems in the valley that we work with. We have to come together and collaborate in order to really positively impact the health of our patients and our communities. And of course, our generous donors, the ones that have sustained us for the past 10 years, and those new donors out there who maybe have the heart and the means to support the mission of Hope Clinic. So please reach out to me. We'll have a cup of coffee. I'll give you a tour of the clinic. And most of all, I want to thank our patients. They're the ones that entrust us with their health and with their well-being. And often we see them then referring their family members to come to Hope Clinic. So without our patients, we really wouldn't have a mission. So,
All right. Well, David, on behalf of Appleton Engaged, we just want to take a moment right now and just say thank you.
thank you.
Appleton Engaged listeners, at this time, we're going to start wrapping up this episode. And we just want to say thank you to you for giving us your minds, for giving us your ears, for caring about another amazing resource in our community, making it a better community, a stronger community. I always, whenever I have conversations with people who are associated with health care, I always go back to the quote that if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So I can't think of more important resources than those that center around health, whether it's mental health or physical health. So I'm so glad that we got to have this conversation today. As you know, Appleton Engaged listeners, we are trying to become the #1 podcast in Northeast Wisconsin, and we can't do it without you. So what does that look like? Well, a couple of things I could use help with. A, if you're listening to this episode and you're thinking, I wish he would have asked this or she would have asked that, let us know. If you would like a segment added to the podcast, let us know. If you would like to be a guest or if you would like to recommend a guest, let us know. And how do you let us know? Well, you can email us at belonging@appletonwi.gov. Once again, that is belonging@appletonwi.gov. We also think we have a pretty special resource here ourselves in the podcast Appleton Engaged. And we think that the more community members who are able to listen and learn about these amazing resources that we have within our region, the more connected we are as a community, the more stronger we are as a community, the more you will feel like you belong to this community. But for us to get in front of more eyes and ears, we need help with what's called analytics. So that means while you are listening to us right now, take a moment, press the subscribe button if there's one there. If there are stars, give us 5, never 4, always 5. And if you've got a few more moments, go ahead and fill out that review and let people know about this amazing podcast. These are all things that help improve our analytics, and the better our analytics, the more community members learn about this amazing resource known as the Appleton Engaged podcast.
And I, too, would like to thank you, David, for being here today. And I do believe you've done an incredible job of explaining and describing the great work at Hope Clinic. But one of the things that you didn't mention is that Hope Clinic uses the tagline, "Hope that's free." And it really isn't free. It takes a lot of people to make that hope happen for so many people. And so we are grateful for our Appleton Engaged listeners to come alongside of us in that journey. And until then, stay thoughtful, stay curious, and stay engaged.